how often is it that we see Cena on Friday Night SmackDown? Just a few weeks ago, I saw him attack Dolph Ziggler, getting some retribution from that Raw locker room brawl. And I really like what they're doing on the Raw Super Shows, especially with the evidence being provided by Dolph Ziggler and Vicky Guerrero to support the AJ John Cena scandal and what AJ is doing to contribute to this feud. It's going to be really interesting to see how she contributes to the match this Sunday, and if she will assist John Cena in winning the briefcase. And of course, I'm not hoping for Cena to lose. I want Cena to win, and it's very rarely you hear me being in the corner of John Cena in any match John Cena has. I really didn't want to be in his corner for the Brock Lesnar match he had back in April, but I pretty much had no choice because I was under the assumption he needed momentum, and now I'm under that same assumption that he needs momentum, so I'm kind of in his corner again. I want to see him defeat Dolph Ziggler, so we'll get even closer to having this championship unification match. How cool is it going to be if this happens and we get a undisputed champion in the WWE for the first time since the early thousands? The last undisputed champion I can remember seeing was either The Rock or The Undertaker, and I believe that was when they were feuding over the undisputed championship. And one of the greatest undisputed championship matches I saw was the three-way between The Rock, Kurt Angle, and The Undertaker for the championship when The Undertaker was the undisputed champion. We have seen so many top superstars hold the undisputed championship, and it has an illustrious history, even though the history of the title was very short. It was held by everyone from Triple H to The Undertaker to The Rock, and I think that having The Rock competing for the undisputed championship at WrestleMania 29, about 10 years after the undisputed championship was put in the archives of WWE, will be great. And with The Rock not holding a championship for over 10 or 11 years, I think it would be great if The Rock, wins the championship for the first time in 10 years and goes on to WrestleMania to compete for the prestigious honor of winning the Undisputed Championship. As I said, the Undisputed title didn't have a very lengthy history, but it had a long enough history to be noticed by wrestling fans, and I think that it would, treat a lot of legends with respect who held that championship by having that championship reinstated. And this thing with brands being separated for over 10 years has been going on for too long. I think that, two champions is completely unnecessary, and we need one champion because, as I said, the question for years has been, who is the champion? It was always Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. You had one guy who stood out amongst the entire roster as the absolute best, especially in the 90s when Shawn Michaels was the WWE champion. He stood out as the best wrestler that WWE had, and The Undertaker stood out as the best wrestler WWE had. In the Attitude Era, it was Steve Austin. Now, in the late thousands, we have people like CM Punk and Sheamus representing two separate shows. We don't need that. We need one champion exclusive to both shows, as it was in the early thousands, and I think that really is the inevitable thing for WWE to do, honestly. I think that everything that WWE have going for them heading into the first half of 2013 is great. One thing they have to establish here is a bit of consistency, and what I mean by that is they need to have storylines being followed through with, like CM Punk versus The Rock. It would make complete nonsense to me if The Rock and CM Punk's match didn't even happen after having it teased on the 23rd of July of this past summer. They need to have that. They need to start a storyline and follow through with that storyline. So if they've been teasing The Rock versus John Cena, the least they can do is follow through with it and start this Sunday by having John Cena win the briefcase, become the first man ever in the history of the MIT briefcase to hold both briefcases in the same year, similar to how Big Daddy Cool Diesel held every championship in the same year in the mid-90s, and then go on to eventually cash it in and win it. If you're going to have The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania 29, at least what you can do is follow through with storylines. If you start something, finish it. And we have seen it more than often in WWE where they start something and they don't even finish it. And who knows, maybe this Rock-John Cena match might not even happen. Maybe The Rock will defend the championship and lose the title to someone entirely different, which I don't want to see. I want to see The Rock versus John Cena be done. I want to see it happen, and I want to see this rivalry reach a point of finalization, which it didn't reach last year at WrestleMania. The thing about last year's match at WrestleMania was it was good enough to be the last match, the only match of the rivalry, honestly, because there was no way in my mind that they were going to be able to top it. And for months I've been trying to figure out, by writing it in my written column or talking about it on the radio show, how they were going to top it. Obviously the only way they can top it is have a champion versus champion match where both championships are defended, and I think that it's great that they're doing it. There are only so many ways that this match can come to be. Either John Cena will win the briefcase, cash it in, and lose between now and WrestleMania, and then have no other alternative but to enter the Royal Rumble. The Rock defeats CM Punk, who will be injured at the Royal Rumble, to win the title. Cena wins the Royal Rumble after coming in at number 30, or even number 1, and pulling a Shawn Michaels. The night after the Royal Rumble, he chooses to face The Rock for the WWE title, win the champion of Raw and SmackDown in the ring, and then here comes John Cena to F-U The Rock or something and challenge him to WrestleMania. There are only so many ways this can go, and I think the better road for this match to go down is having John Cena win the briefcase from Ziggler this Sunday in a match that I'm expecting to be at least a 4-star caliber match out of a 5-star perspective scale, and then hold on to that briefcase for a few months and then eventually cash it in on the big show and winning the world title, holding it up until WrestleMania, and then determining who is the undisputed champion. The thing about it is, we've seen championships unified over the last number of years. We've even seen the Divas and Women's Championship unified to form one championship, being the Divas title. We saw the Intercontinental title unified with the U.S. Championship, and there was even a point where the Intercontinental Championship was on hiatus and put in the archives of WWE for a short time. It was only for about 2 years, but it was put on hiatus. We've seen every championship from the tag team titles to the Intercontinental title unified in some capacity, but we've never seen the WWE World Championship unified, and that's the one championship that you want to see unified. And I think that WWE realized that they just don't want to give us that championship unified. They want us to keep believing that there's going to be a champion of Raw and SmackDown for all eternity, when we don't want to see it. And WWE are stupid enough to keep it that way because they're never going to listen to wrestling fans, and it just keeps you getting pissed off. And as long as they give you something to be irritated over, they're going to keep doing it. We've seen every championship unified. It's time to have that championship unified. One of the things that I hope we see with this rivalry with John Cena and The Rock is that leading up to the match, John Cena doesn't cash in the briefcase to win the World Championship right away. I hope he holds on to the briefcase for an additional few months after winning it from Dolph Ziggler, and then cashes in on the Big Show or whoever the World Champion is. I don't want to see him cash it in immediately. I want to see WWE give this enough time to have a storyline created with a superstar who potentially needs a push. I don't want to see John Cena face someone like a member of the Shield or something for the world title, don't get me wrong. I want to see a match like John Cena versus the Big Show, an updated rivalry from about 2003 that we saw over something like the U.S. Championship. But I want to see this feud be meaningful, and be meaningful when Cena cashes in. I'd go for Cena cashing in honorably. I just don't want to see him cashing it in, let's say, on the following Friday's SmackDown against the Big Show and win the world title. That would mean he would have to hold the championship from December right up until about April, the first or second week of April. I don't want to see that. I want to see him hold the briefcase up until, let's say, about mid-March. He cashes in on a live Raw, unexpectedly wins the World Championship, and holds it until WrestleMania. And leading up to WrestleMania, in the final few weeks we have a championship unification match that's made by WWE Chairman Vince McMahon, who could find a way into the storyline somehow, or whoever the general manager is, whatever the circumstances are. There's also the chance that AJ could play a role in this by screwing John Cena out of the briefcase and aligning herself with Dolph Ziggler and become Dolph Ziggler's boyfriend or something, I don't know, even though there are still rumors of an inappropriate relationship between Dolph Ziggler and Vicky Guerrero. I don't know how this is going to go, but the thing about it is there are so many ways that this could play out. There are so many things that could interfere. You have the Shield, which is completely stupid, that could interfere. But with everything that's going on in WWE right now, it certainly implies that we're going to see The Rock versus John Cena for the WWE Championship, or for both the WWE and World Heavyweight Championship. I'd like to come out here and confirm for you this is going to happen. I, more than anything, would want to do that. I want to confirm The Rock is going to face John Cena. I want to confirm that we're going to get this Undisputed Championship match for the first time since the early 2000s. The first Undisputed Championship solidification match we saw was in 2001, where we had a little bit of a miniature tournament at that year's Vengeance pay-per-view, where Jericho defeated Austin and The Rock back-to-back on the same night. I want to confirm that for you. But the thing that wrestling fans need to grasp the concept of is this is just a rumor, and there is no 100% certainty that this is going to happen. By WrestleMania 29, it could be The Rock versus Brock Lesnar, for all we know, with Brock Lesnar going to be returning at some point with so many superstars slated to return between now and WrestleMania, the storylines could go anyway. There's a rumor also The Undertaker is going to be returning full time. There are a lot of rumors, and with social media being more popular than it's ever been, and being the perfect forum to discuss rumors and create rumors, we're going to get even more between now and WrestleMania. There's really so much going on right now. It's really hard to determine what's going to happen, but I hope, like many of you, we are going to see The Rock versus John Cena. It's very rarely you hear me be in the corner of John Cena and wanting John Cena to build momentum. I was a huge fan of John Cena when he was a heel character, and he was, cutting these promo reps. He was someone who didn't care what he had to do to make it to the top. But when he metamorphosized into a guy that everybody loved and supported 100% of the time, I got quickly sick of it. But now, with The Rock and John Cena's match and the chances of it happening at WrestleMania 29 being higher than they've ever been, I find myself being in the corner of John Cena more than I have ever been in the last 10 years. I want to see him defeat Dolph Ziggler this Sunday. He's my pick to win in my pay-per-view picks on my website over Dolph Ziggler, which I wouldn't do if this match wasn't for the briefcase and John Cena versus The Rock at WrestleMania 29 wasn't potential of happening, didn't have any potential of happening. I would pick Dolph Ziggler over John Cena any day, given the performance level of Dolph Ziggler, and I'm not counting Dolph Ziggler out of this match by choosing John Cena to win. I just want John Cena to win, so we'll get one step closer to seeing The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania 29, if not for both titles, for the WWE Championship. It's guaranteed to happen one of those two ways. But like I said, so much has to happen between now and WrestleMania, so much that it's almost a long shot to seeing this championship unification match. And while WWE have two champions and they know wrestling fans want to have one definitive champion, they're going to keep the idea of having two shows with two separate champions going for as long as they can, just to irritate you. But I think that if we form some kind of cult and, told WWE we need one definitive champion and the ratings decrease by wrestling fans not watching the show, then we would get an undisputed champion in no time. So I think really the only thing we have to do is form a cult, honestly. We don't see it between now and WrestleMania, and if we don't see it between now and WrestleMania, forming a cult that's led by someone in the way of a CM Punk